go. There's Alex. As soon as Alex sits, we'll start. Alex, are you okay if we start?
Yes, thank you.
All right. I'd like to call this meeting of the Southbury Planning Commission to order. If we can all stand in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Seating of alternates. We don't need just a one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're all set. We don't need alternates. Sorry, guys. All right. Under new business, let's see. We have to make an addition to the schedule. We're going to.
Add to our agenda, the acceptance of an application from Arts Escape.
Okay, I'll second it. All in favor to add to the agenda? We're adding the Arts Escape. It was a new application that came in late today. It should be in your pile someplace. If not, we'll make sure you have it when we get to it. Okay. So, we need to vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it's added. We'll start right with that one. It is right here, right? Do I have to read all this? All right. I have to read all this into the. Okay. So we're just accepting this tonight, since we don't have a lot of information on it yet. Correct? Let's see. Okay. Are they here to do that? Okay. Do you want to go that far tonight? Okay, so we just accept it and put it on for a public hearing? So what we have to do is put this on for a public hearing, so we accept this tonight, so we'll put on for a public hearing for the next meeting is October the 19th. Is the applicant here? We just make sure that they understand that. Is the applicant here by any chance? Hi. Oh, okay. We're gonna put this on, accept this for tonight, so because we don't have a lot of information, just came in late today. So we're gonna put this on for a special exception for our meeting for October for a public hearing.
I had a couple of questions based on the letter. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mark Broussard. I'm Vice President of Heritage Development Group. I'm also an architect. I've been with Heritage for about 35 years. This came about as, we go through a lot of change out with spaces, commercial spaces, and, it's flipping business to business, and we're kind of caught us.
Point of order?
Yeah,
Point of order? We can't accept that
Right.
information until the public hearing.
right, we have to wait till the public hearing on this.
My question is, why would something so minor need to go to a public hearing?
Because this is a special exception, there are no violations of the rules for the commission or the town. This requires a special exception in a public hearing.
Okay,
So October 19th it is.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, may I approach?
Okay, Kevin, quickly. Thank you.
Can we at least consider a?
No. No, it's special hearing.
No, listen, can we at least consider a special meeting?
Special exception will be on October 19th at the public hearing. There is no other meeting that's lit for this. We have to follow the rules.
Well, I mean, having a special meeting isn't necessarily not following the rules. It's,
We're having a public hearing for this application on
Right.
October 19th. That's the rules of the town. And no other exceptions will be made.
even though it's just a change of use.
None, absolutely none. Public hearing it is.
Can't.
Right, we can't.
All right.
All right. All right, let's see. Number 2, site modification, 1200 Main Street South, electric vehicle charging company. Do we have an applicant on that as well? Everybody had this in your email. I guess you saw this at the last, Jessica sent it over. If everybody can just state your name, who you are, and the company for the record.
Yeah, Jess.
I'm Jessica Gurnett. I'm the operations manager of Gyre 9.
Okay.
I'm Ed Gilchrist, I'm the president and owner of Gyre 9.
Mhm. You could pull that microphone just a little closer to you, might help. Yeah. there
We'll
we
just lean in,
Yeah.
that's
go.
all.
Yeah, is it close enough to the table?
Yeah, I
I
think
Guess we
think
could pull it
yeah,
closer.
about as close as it's gonna get.
that's how we can do it, there you go.
So we'll have to put it till next month then? Okay. So if you can just take us through quickly your main application, because we got it so late in, so we have to just kind of review it, but if we can get a 30,000-foot kind of overview of what you folks want to do, and then we're going to put it on until next month's calendar, and then we'll get it taken care of, right?
Okay.
Okay?
Sure.
I'll start. So we currently have a facility in Oxford,
Mhm.
right? And this facility became available, I don't know what the date was, but, you know, a while back, and I was interested in it. And I had a business previously in town here, so we need a lot of space, we need to grow. We don't just do EV charging, we also do design and engineering services, so we met with the new owner, Mike, and explained what we were doing. We didn't need really much done, we just needed the place cleaned out, because it was pretty much a mess when we walked in there. So I said, just, you know, we need lighting and we need the place cleaned out and get it ready for us. So he's been working on that. And, you know, he doesn't have, we said, look, we'll help run this through the town, because one, we're a little more familiar with the town, and two, we have a lot of incentive, because we're gonna be the only
Right.
tenant in the town. So let's help, whatever we can do to help get this through. So, you know, this is a learning exercise for us too. You know, normally we're moving into a little piece of a building and it's very easy. This is a little more complicated, so any help you guys can give us on how to, you know, meet all your needs. And, you know, we have no issue with that. So Jess has been sort of heading up, getting all the applications in to you guys.
Yes. So yes, I know, you know, we got our info to you a bit late last week. I tried to turn it around as fast as I was getting it.
That's okay. All right.
As far as the site plan itself, it's all the existing, mechanicals as far as we know, well, septic and all that.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear
Can
you.
you just
Oh,
speak up
I'm
just a
sorry.
tiny bit for us? Thank you.
Sure. So, you know, there's no major work being done to the actual site, no septic work, no well work, it's all existing.
The parking areas are all the same parking areas. We just asked for them to be paved, because they're pretty old and they were in pretty bad shape. And then just cleaning up all the junk that was around the building. There's a lot of, again, it was a mess, so he's been cleaning that up. And that's, as far as, again, the site is concerned, I don't think anything, you know, he painted the building, you know, that was nice.
Okay.
But outside, nothing. Inside is just cleaning it up, painting it, getting it all ready. So,
Anybody have any quick questions for the clients before, because Jess will do an overview for us for next month for when we get the application finalized. Anyone, just very quickly, anything?
yeah, any questions? Happy to answer them.
Hours of operation, it's gonna be on your application?
They will be, yeah, they'll
Yeah.
have to
And
be.
lighting? Lighting and any signage? Has to be on the
Yeah, I
application.
think we have signage all
Yeah, we
figured out.
s-
Did you supply that yet?
Yeah,
We
so we have
submitted-
regulations for signage. You probably got that already, right?
Yes.
And lighting? Okay, good. And then hours of service. I see there's 33 employees, 5 contractors, 40 parking spaces. So we'll just, you know, all that, and then we'll have everyone will have some questions probably by then.
Yeah, that will be
Okay.
covered in the review, all
All
of
right.
that.
Perfect.
Yeah, and anything that you think might cause a problem that we won't be able to get in, you know, sooner than later, because
Right.
we're obviously in a rush
If
to,
I run into anything, I'll reach out to you.
that'd be great.
All right,
That'd
so
be
just
great.
check in with Justin in the next week or so, and then we'll have you on for next month, October 19th. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
Great.
Thank you
Alrighty,
both. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, under unfinished business, special exception and site plan application 690 Main Street South Child Daycare Center. Hi, everybody. So, if you can just state all your names for the record,
Into the microphone.
into the microphone, that'd be great.
Stephanie Edick, one of the owners of Blossom and Mines.
Jacqueline Cardinelli, other owner of Blossom Mines.
Al Kunkus, architect, Watertown, Connecticut.
Okay, if you want to lift that microphone up higher, you can do that. We can adjust it. Yeah. Do we need to adjust it more, or is it okay?
We're good.
Thank you.
All right, so if you want to just take us kind of through your application, and then obviously we'll have some questions, and then we'll.
I'd like to drop off,
Sure,
clean out some,
sure. If you have them, that'd be great. We can-
Okay, thank you.
She has questions, Al. That's the interior. That's the interior out here. Thank you.
Whoever would like to go first is fine. Take us through it.
These two young ladies would like to open up a daycare below the Riverview Theaters. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm gonna just do this for them.
Thank you.
These two young ladies would like to open up a daycare below the Riverview Theaters. And we're here tonight, obviously as part of a daycare, we have to provide a play area on the outside, and that's what we're here for tonight. We want to show where the location is, how the children get there, what the fence is, size, et cetera, and that's why we're here tonight.
Try that.
I gave you your mic for the moment.
Oh, that's fine.
Does this work?
Thank you.
So in front of you, I provided a site plan, and the hatch in the middle is the daycare area. It's 8,800 and change square feet, and to the upper right, we're taking an existing parking area. That's the other hatched area. It says play area 175 for children. It's 20 children. It's 1,800 square feet. It's gonna have a 4-foot-high vinyl fence enclosure. There's gonna be self-closing gates on the backside so the kids are not in traffic. And then if you see from the daycare, you see a dotted line going underneath the overhang, and it goes right to the daycare. So these kids are not traveling in the path of cars or anything, so. And the other thing we want here, we're showing that we have plenty of parking. We have 20 spaces for the daycare.
Those are in back of the building, right? Those are in back? Those spots are in back of the building to park, right?
Yes.
Yes, this is in the back.
And this will not impact the parking spots at all, the play area, or,
We're taking existing parking spaces.
I'm sorry, across from,
No, it's right against the building.
okay. It just, on the
play area.
drawing, the shaded area is the play area, correct?
Exactly,
Not the
yes.
arrow.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bigger one if you want to see it.
See it, I just needed clarification on the shading.
No, anytime, yes.
You're right, you can't tell which 20, you know, which 20.
The non-shaded, I'm sorry, the non-shaded area,
Okay, Anita.
what is that?
What was that, Ron? There you go, you're on.
Okay, I got the mic on. The shaded area is the daycare.
Inside the building, the crosshatched area, it says daycare lower level.
Okay, so this is inside the building,
That's inside, but if you go outside, you'll see
and the play area is off to the right. Where
off
is
to the
this-
right.
Where is this in relationship to the theater? I'm trying to,
It's in the back of the building. The theater's up front.
Do you remember the back of the building was?
yeah, didn't they put
there's all those-
something in there? Didn't they put,
Yes, an open air MRI machine.
MRI
So this is
machine.
the lower level.
Yes.
So if you're looking at their picture, this picture, the MRI, I believe is going on
To the left side of that.
to the left, correct? And over here, I believe Mercados is using part of that,
Storage,
yeah.
storage, yeah.
using it For what?
Storage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Remember the back of the building where you?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that, it's all was
I'm
originally
looking at,
run for that.
I'm trying to visualize where,
Yep.
maybe I'll ride around
Yeah,
it
it's
tomorrow.
understandable.
Very little traffic back there,
Mm-hmm.
other than it'll be for the daycare, so.
Do you wanna wait for questions, or we wanna jump?
No, you're welcome to ask, sure.
So the deliveries for the storage and people for the MRI, will they interact at all? So the deliveries for the storage, the trucks that come and go, where do they enter?
Well, there's two loading areas back there.
Yes,
And,
yep.
I call them service. There's one here and there's one over here. So I don't know how frequent they get loading, but, you know, the kids are walking along the building edge underneath on the sidewalk, so, they're not in traffic, but anyways, if there's loading, they're gonna be just bringing boxes in.
I think you're required for someone to be out there anyway.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, yes,
Always
these kids are,
supervised, yes.
supervised.
Per classroom, there'll be 2 teachers and utilized throughout the day. They won't be outside utilizing that area the entire day from when we're open from 7 to 6. It's only increments of part of the day. But always accommodated by 2 teachers, one in the front of the line and one in the back of the line at all times per 10 children that are per group size.
Thank you.
And the playground size is limited to 20 children?
Yes. We don't want the whole center out at the same time. It has to be very minimal for obviously.
And if that's fenced in, do we have any kind of
I'm sorry, I didn't hear
any
you.
kind of data on the type of fencing back there?
Vinyl.
Vinyl fence.
Vinyl fence.
Vinyl panel fencing.
Probably wanna see that.
How many kids are we talking about all day long?
So at one group size, 20 kids, the max. So that'll be 2 classrooms, so like 2 preschool classrooms, 2 toddler classrooms, but never the whole center out at one time.
Oh, you're talking in the outside play area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking about the statement of use where it said there was,
240 car trips a day?
Yeah.
Something? That's
Something like that.
enormous amount of traffic.
Yeah, no, that's,
Did anyone else read that? I remember reading that. Yeah. Yep,
it was the proposed number of students and employees.
right. I remember reading that specifically.
Right,
the
100,
total
right, it was
license-
100 students.
Yeah.
Yes.
right? And then how many, 30 or whatever, 20, 30 employees, whatever it was.
yes, 20
Max, around
employees
20,
max,
yeah.
yeah,
Right.
so at full capacity.
So you just
we'll
figure
be at
times
100.
2, there's
Yeah.
your traffic for the day.
Yeah, 200 something. Yeah.
All at different increments, some kids come at 7, 8, 9, 10, that's usually the busy hours from 7 AM to 10 AM. And then pickup is usually the busy hours from 3 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you look at what the traffic, the heaviest traffic for the theater is? If you're open till 6, right?
We're
Yeah.
open from 6.
Everyone's gone by 6.
Yes.
Have to look at that theater schedule too. A lot of traffic.
A lot.
of children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think the theater, and that's where I would ask, of course, Bob, the heaviest traffic would be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Is that your heaviest traffic, Bob, or? in the
Oh, it's all week
evening?
long with,
Bobby Laflamme, Southbury, 218 Coon Road. The theater, most of the traffic that I've ever seen, and as of late, you know, the theater business has probably gone down to 20 to 25% of what it was since this whole streaming thing took over. But most of the theater traffic that I've seen is mainly in front of the theater. If people could park and literally drive right inside the lobby, they would do so. So there's no one really that I see to the rear parking, other than once in a while the staff from Mercado that parks towards the rear, along the area where we have, the view of the river.
We look at worst case scenario, when you're booming, your business is booming, and the theater's open, and everyone's, you know, not just now.
yes.
This is horrible.
And we don't just mean traffic inside the parking, we're talking traffic coming off the main road, right? That's what is a concern to myself. and
I've been there in
people.
the busiest peaks and everything, and I have seen everyone park directly in front of the theater. And
now
to
we're
the
adding-
left and right of the theater, but not to the rear. It's a long walk around to the back, so most people just park in front. And the
But they
medical
won't for the
offices
daycare
that are
though, right? They'll
located.
have to go down back.
Hmm?
Yeah,
They won't for the
daycare's
daycare.
around back.
So it's an extra couple hundred cars in and out throughout the day. So it's a lot more than what we ever planned on initially, when we did this initial application for this whole cinema.
Well, the initial application with the whole project
Right.
was to
Storage
have the
initially.
entire property be used, the lower level, the main level, which it is
Yeah, the initial approval
included.
was storage.
So, pardon?
The original approval was storage.
Yeah,
for
but
the
we
lower
went
level
through and
back.
had that approved for medical use.
Well, that was
So-
after the fact, but the original one was storage.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
currently approved for medical
Right,
use.
so now there's a concern about the traffic because it's additional, which wasn't
Sure,
originally a
but
part
I
of
would
it.
imagine at this point that, right now, we have a MRI unit going down to the extreme, as you're standing in the rear of the building, to the extreme right of the property.
Yep,
So the MRI is going in there, it's about 2,000 square feet, and you might have a couple of cars going in there. And until we actually finish filling up the lower level with medical, I would think that there's no parking problem whatsoever or traffic problem, so we'd have to come before you as we bring each user in, I would assume. And as we do, if the board thinks that there's additional traffic checks or whatever, we'll be glad to do it. But currently, I welcome any of the members to go directly behind there and look, and there's no one parking.
Bob?
Well, since we're on that topic, as far as the traffic flow, this is an exceptionally deep piece of property, much deeper than what we normally have. And I would say if there's an increased amount of traffic, the queue would be on their property. It's not like it's gonna back up onto Main Street.
Right.
They have plenty of room for these cars to pull in, go all the way to the back, and then if for some reason there's heavy traffic on Main Street, let's say, the queue is gonna be within their parking lot. It's not like it's gonna be backing up Main Street. That's just my opinion.
Yep.
Wanted to point that out. My question, though, would be the play area, you've got a vinyl fence. I think we'd wanna see the vinyl fence, but I'm more concerned directly across from the play area, you have parking. And I don't see any indication of any parking bollards. And if some unfortunate person were to have a slip of the accelerator and back up, they would back up from that parking space directly into the play area.
That's
And
a
I don't
great
see-
suggestion,
Yeah.
because if we put bollards or if a concrete barrier, a decorative barrier in front, I think that would be really,
I would feel a lot better with something
Yeah.
there.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I think that's a great suggestion, and I think it's really good, a good idea. Yes, sir.
Well, I just want to add on to what Bob said about the traffic. Really, on that backside, you can go all the way around the post office. So once you get in, you can go like 3 or 4 driveways down to get out. So no, the traffic isn't
would
going to be
help.
coming into that. So that'll help that
Yes,
terrifically.
that was done by the original architect, Hugh
Yeah.
Sullivan, who proposed a flow to the traffic light, which would make it easier for people to exit the property.
Yeah.
Actually, Hugh's right here wanting to say something.
Excuse me if I can interject. I'm Hugh Sullivan, an architect of Bennett Sullivan. Regarding the lower level, when it was storage, we did compact the zoning
Yep.
commission and your commission to convert that to rentable area for Mr. Laflamme and his tenants. And one of the primary things we had to do is bring back the traffic engineer, Sharat Kanuri, who reviewed the entire site. And because the site is mixed use, we still have ample parking at the site for that lower level to be tenanted out. And the differential, there was almost a 15% surplus throughout the days, as well as at the mean times on Friday night and Saturday night. And I'm assuming on the weekend, the child care center will not be open.
Plus they're closed at 6, so it's,
Yeah, the traffic was thoroughly looked at, and Commissioner Giroux, who's an engineer, he reviewed it thoroughly, and he found that he accepted what we submitted.
okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. The benefit that I think the girls haven't mentioned yet, but we have medical offices upstairs with the doctors, nurses, and staff. And we found that they're very excited about getting the daycare in because they can go visit their children during the lunch break and whatever else. So it works out really nice for them to walk right around the property and go visit. So it actually is, there's a lot of synergy between the, what they're proposing and the medical offices upstairs, which, you know, has a pediatric division and everything else, so.
Can I just confirm as well, that there's, it's open traffic and parking spaces on the opposite side of the building as well. So people getting their MRIs could go to the far
Yeah,
side of the building and around, so they're not gonna be driving around.
No.
And typically, you know, I had to go for an MRI, and you go in there and you're the only one in there, and, you know, you're there, so it's like they schedule them one after the other. It isn't like a big waiting room full of people, you know, hopefully wanting to go in there.
Right.
I wasn't that excited myself.
So I have a couple of quick questions here, because I have a resolution for a vote, but we can't go to the vote. We may have to delay it to next month if these things aren't done, so let me just see if you did them already, and we'll know. We need the affidavit from the Connecticut Water,
The affidavit.
affidavit from Connecticut Water, do we have that yet?
I don't have that, but I can get that for you and provide it to
And then
Jessica if you want.
Oh, yeah, we definitely want it.
Yeah,
And then, the proposed childcare facility still requires state and local health department approval, do we have that?
We can't file our license with the state until, cause there's a 60-day window.
Yep.
So since construction or nothing, we can't even open a case
Okay.
on
I
that.
think I spoke to you about
Yes.
that, but the health the local health department, did you go through, them at all? Have you gotten approval?
Because that's included with the registration packet, it goes hand in hand with the health department, and it's literally hand in hand where that's where it's a 60-day window. But I'd be more than happy to
No, I think
check.
Separate.
that's
Yes.
separate, that's
Okay.
for like,
This is this,
the sewer
Okay.
and things like that, that's separate.
Because literally when we call anybody and they're like, you're just literally a dirt slab right now, they're like, year 2 in the beginning stages, and that's why we're
right, so then we may have to wait till next month or until, so we, and the last thing is, the fire marshal, had reviewed the proposal, and they still require improvements prior to to occupancy, have we? This is what we're talking
I
about, the
think he's
cleanup?
Spoke to you, and
Yeah.
I think you guys said you'd submit plans to him and the building inspector.
is there any way respectfully, the girls really want to get going because as you know, they'll probably won't even be at half capacity as they have to
Can't
build
afford
up
it
and
without
sign
being on the license.
applications. Is there any way we could supply the information to Jessica and, for the next meeting so they don't lose the time in the sign up? Because if you miss the season, then it could really,
Detrimental. to
it'll be really
business.
detrimental to the whole thing.
Because a lot of people, they'll go to another center, and once they sign up, they don't want to forfeit their registration fee, and of course, with their little ones meeting their friends and their teacher, they'll just wait for the next coming school year.
So I can
So
assure
the
you, if we have to get the water
the
thing and
sprinklers
everything
are in?
else, we'll get it.
The
Yeah.
sprinklers are in for sure?
Oh,
Bob?
sprinklers are in.
Okay,
The alarms,
and the alarms, okay.
that's what David said.
Is there any busing? Any busing?
Busing, I'm not sure if we'd have busing going there that I know of.
There'll be no busing to and from the
This one here,
center,
but we
like obviously with kids enrolled, but busing with the elementary
and
schools
after
before and after school, that we coordinate, of course, when we're in the process of signing for our
Can it be
registration.
approved without a license, yeah?
We can't do anything yet without a license, but unfortunately, we can't apply for a license because we only have a 60-day window.
It's like a
Not so
catch
much-
20.
Can it be
Yeah.
approved
I- I
contingent
I spoke to
upon
you
those
about that,
things?
and I
The other two things, the water and the fire marshal person, yeah, but
Health
So-
we don't have any
really needs-
documentation of the state or local health.
I just didn't know if we could do it
I don't know, I mean,
contingent to
we're-
that.
We can't apply with contingency.
And the
We're not
drawings,
allowed to.
all the drawings are done for permit, they're ready to rock,
Yeah.
they're ready to go.
We can't approve with a contingency from another board or commission or state agency. We can't do that. I mean, we'd like to.
Right, it puts us in a,
I
puts us in a tight
understand, you
situation.
explained to me how it works for the state license, but Nancy's correct, we can't approve something based on a contingency from the local health department. I would love to be able to do that, I think it would put us,
In a liability
yeah,
situation,
I think it,
unfortunately.
Well, would it even be approved until that's received? So it wouldn't be really granting us approval, it would just be subject to.
Mike, you have some?
Yeah, just I'm not certain that is actually the case, and I think this is a case where, because the Board of Selectmen on a regular basis, passes resolutions pending receipt of X, Y, and Z, and confirmation of receipt. And in this case, with the planning commission only meeting once a month, and having to, it would put the applicant in a position of hardship. I believe we should take every step to approve it pending receipt of confirmation. And this commission has a right to withdraw that approval, because you're not approving it. It is pending the receipt of confirmation. I believe you can do that. I am not a town lawyer.
I mean,
See Nancy shaking your head, there may be precedent.
Yeah.
There's nothing within our ordinance that says we can't.
There certainly is precedent. We've had this happen before. Certainly, people are open their businesses, and we want them to. Our hands are tied.
Since we don't have state approval, I'd have to say we have to,
I'm going to bring this to the town attorney.
Yeah.
Because we are putting applicants in a position of hardship,
Yep.
Which hurts the economic base of this
I know.
town. And there is no one here who actually knows for sure, including myself.
that's
I
not
believe-
true. Statutorily.
we know we can't approve it without a license, we know that.
We can't approve it without a license.
You cannot approve it based on a contingency,
Correct.
statutorily.
All right.
I'm sure of that.
Yes.
Because what's putting us in a bind is, in all due respect, if we were to apply tomorrow for a license, we have 60 days to have that
I'm not
center
talking about that
open.
license, I'm talking about local health approval.
Yeah.
Local health.
And the affidavit from Connecticut Water.
Right.
There's another possibility that I think you could request a special meeting so that we could, rather than wait a month, we could,
Yeah, if you have it in the next week or so, we could
if you have everything in line,
do a special meeting for it
you could
quickly.
request a special meeting.
Okay.
And could I ask on Connecticut Water, what were we looking for?
Just something saying that they're giving permission, for the water usage that you're proposing. I
Well,
don't
we do have water in the
I know,
building,
but
and we're
this is
using
additional.
probably, I believe, 50% of what they thought we would use at the cinema after
But-
studies that were done by Brian Baker, Civil One, and the rest of them, so we're well below any
No,
threshold.
but
Let's get the piece of
Yeah.
that's not the issue. The issue is the water company comes in, you talk to the water company, they look at your facility, and they write something that says, yes, we
Right.
think this is all well and good. I mean, I agree,
I'm trying to figure out, what are they saying well and good, because there's water in the building?
but there's not to your issue. There's not water to your specification, to your usage.
They
It-
approved the usage for daycare.
Yes.
Look, it
That's
won't,
in the law.
call, you're gonna come back anyway.
Right?
Call them. It's not gonna do you any harm.
We just need
Call
an
them
affidavit.
and line it up.
You guys are good, that's all.
Great.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask Connecticut Water if they approve the use of water.
And
in
they
the
just
building.
give you something that you could
For daycare.
present to Jessica.
Mention definitely
For the particular use.
daycare. Okay,
This is
makes
connected
sense.
to us, but-
You know,
Yeah.
I'll change it, I'll show Roberts, or I'll bury it, and I'll give him a picture of the land.
Okay, thank you.
Meeting to be heard in 2 weeks, maybe if they're reconvenes, that we could do the public hearing for the artscape and this application.
That's a good idea.
I agree with that.
I agree, that's a good idea.
We have a number of applicants who.
Pass it on to the boss.
Yeah. Yeah, it changes, that's all.
Right, correct.
Everyone okay with that special meeting, if we can do that, just to
Well,
get it
we-
done for them?
Alex has a great idea.
I think Rich heard
Yeah,
that we could do a special meeting for.
and we could parlay some other
Yeah.
stuff at the same time.
Yes.
All right, so we could do that, so here's what we can do for, we can't approve it tonight, because we know we have to have that, we don't wanna get caught in the hot seat. We would if it was done, no question about it. So if we can do a meeting in like the next week or two, based on your time frame of getting this health approval, then we'll do a special meeting, and we have to just coordinate with Jess quickly so that we can get all of us at the same time. It could be like a 6 o'clock meeting or a 6:30 meeting or something like that, just to get everybody to fit in quickly, okay?
And focus on the water, correct?
We're gonna focus on your actually three things that are outstanding here.
The building inspector, over there, fire marshal.
So the building,
I will,
I don't know if we could submit plans before,
I'll email you guys what you need.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
we don't need to see
well,
the
we do
plan.
have complete plans made, but I don't think they're gonna
You
accept them.
know, I talked to him today, that's a different subject, I'll talk to you. That's, the building side is a different thing.
Okay.
I'll talk to you about that.
I also, we talked about what type of vinyl fence, we'll include a copy
The
of what we want.
bollards,
And then the bollards and the
Yes.
protection and the kids in the parking lot, we'll include that as well.
And signage, you have signage on there?
there wasn't signage or lighting included in your application.
Ballards on
Oh,
all four
definitely.
corners, would you want, on more than one corner?
Apply for that.
All,
I'm
Yes,
sure
yes,
that
we already
They'll
have
figure it
the
out?
coordination
I
of
would
the
think
signs
across
set
the
up, like,
entire thing.
entire play area,
Yeah, I would think so, yeah.
just so that a car can't enter.
Yeah,
Would the commissioners consider a concrete barrier, or would you like posts?
yeah, concrete barrier is fine, just as long as somebody backing up
I got you,
doesn't drive over a kid.
I got you.
I mean, just like, you know, I don't think you want something that's unsightly, so I'm sure that you're gonna submit
I'm gonna see
something
which
that,
one looks better.
oh, you're gonna look at cost too.
Well, safety, children's safety is first.
Absolutely.
It was a great idea.
You okay with that?
Yes, I might as well do it at the same time.
I don't think they're ready.
Well, we could ask them.
You,
If they're not ready, they're not ready.
Jess,
What are you gonna
just
get
'cause
from
I'm
the state now? What are they asking?
newer than some of our other commissioners, when we get this whole issue looked at as far as whether we can do things with contingencies or not, can that get forwarded, like whatever decision, just so that we have some,
Yeah.
just so I can read it and understand it? I'm one of those kind of weird people.
It's good to have the reference and the.
Yeah, there'll be a reference, it's a good idea.
Yes, as long as now you have a little time, if you can, submit your lighting and your signage at the same time, so you don't have to come back.
Don't
You
you-
won't be able to open without that either.
You won't have to come back.
Do it all.
A lighting, I'm confused, there's already lighting in the park.
Is, I didn't know if
But
there
you
was
may
or
need
not, I wasn't
additional-
sure.
Yeah, there's lighting that's been
There's
approved by the
nothing
town.
additional, there's not gonna be any new floodlights added or
No sign.
parking lights or,
No
Well,
signage?
there will be a sign that would be
That say Blossom
lighted,
Vines,
but.
all
Well, that has to be approved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow the regs on
Yeah.
that.
So we could do
Yep.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
But we won't be putting additional lights up other than.
No, the sign will have to be approved, that's
There's
it.
no lighting
Yeah.
in the play area?
You get the sign regulations from Jess?
I don't believe they're gonna be out, you're not gonna.
they're not
have
gonna be
lights
out at
in
night,
the
no,
dark.
no.
It gets dark at 4 in
Yeah.
the winter.
Or they go out in the dark.
No, 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 no,
Cool.
no.
And for entry and exit for the children when they're picked up at 7 o'clock too, yeah, you might want to.
The whole underside of the building is lit
Lit,
with lighting
yeah.
under the overhang and also along it, so it's lit up very nicely.
Adequate, we'll talk to the building inspector.
And you have the regulations for the signs, so you know what you need to do.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna let Al
Yep.
look at that.
Okay, you know, you know it's there, because you did the plans, the whole thing already.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank
cool, okay. All right, anybody else before we, table this for the moment? Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So
Thank you for
Jess will
scheduling
reach
a
out to you
special
and then
meeting,
let
too.
you
That
know how
was very
quickly we can
kind.
get the other meeting on, okay?
Okay, perfect.
So in the
Thank you
meanwhile,
so
we
much.
try to get these three things, try to get the health department approval. It's
Okay.
important.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
Okay.
thank you.
So you know, Bob, we've been sued for that before.
Yeah.
Can't do it. No, and then you set a precedent, and anybody comes in, no, we're gonna get that. and
No,
get
sure.
that."
All right, let's see, moving right along, under other business, 8-3A zoning commission referral, Southbury Green, PDD number 8, general text amend, detailed plan modification, refuse enclosure addition into the setback area behind building B. Everyone's familiar with this, over there at the, okay? Hugh Sullivan's here, I was gonna say, is anyone here? Okay. Well, Hugh's got a handout, we'll have to look for the PDF, okay?
Oh, okay. Five, one for Deb. I'm not gonna have enough. So, I have 9. That's the other one. 3. Or you might tell me there's only 4 here. Good evening, I'm Hugh Sullivan. I'm an architect with Bennett Sullivan Associates in Southbury. I reside at 615 South Britton Road in South Britton. I failed to refer to Southbury because South Britton is losing its character and location. The post office is gonna kill us. They're dying to take away our P.O. boxes. I'm sorry not before you this evening with, great aesthetic architecture, but this is the utilitarian side of the business that has changed over the last 20 years for Southbury Green, and it's regarding refuse. On the first page that I passed out, it is the letter that's required for a text amendment to the chairman of zoning commission, because I'm before you tonight as a referral from the zoning commission. And essentially what has happened here, if I could trouble you to open your 11 by 17 drawings that we created. On sheet SP 100, the architectural site plan and setback, you see the small little red, it's a 10 by 20 refuse enclosure. This came about because this original building B was for Staples.
Yep.
When Staples left, it became multi-tenanted. The new store, I keep forgetting, Home Goods?
Yes.
Came in and they didn't want to share the dumpster areas with the other tenants because they felt it was a liability. They want to be able to control their own trail of refuse, cardboard, whatever. And as well as I've learned in this last 6 months, there are different vendors that collect refuse for different national tenants. It's not like one Springer that comes down and takes care of everything. Despite that, the issue before you this evening is that the regulations state that a refuse structure is a structure, and it, even though it doesn't have a roof, it's supposed to be 30 feet from the setback of the property line. Now, what happened to this site in 1975, if you see Brown Road on that drawing, you see the two lines that make up the actual right-of-way. Because this intersection had to go to DOT for a traffic light, DOT essentially revised the entire property line for the site because they wanted that land for the traffic intersection, for the bypass. Well, not knowing at that time that there would be a refuse container area before you this evening, we wouldn't meet the criteria of the 30 feet. Certainly met it back in 1995 and 96. And I'm before you this evening to ask if we could get the text to change to 20 feet, even though we are gonna be at 23 feet, 7 inches. If you were to continue with the page on A101, you can see the size of the proposed dumpster. Essentially, it's 2 walls, bollards at the rear of the building, and then shielded gates to hold and contain 2 8-yard dumpsters. Because of its location, if you were to go back to the drawing SP 100, you'll see a shaded kind of area with jagged lines that goes through. It's not a roadway, but it's an electric easement. So we had to get this before you. And, I'll always say that, you're a tough and strict board, but I hadn't been to Eversource to ask for permission to put a wall on my property. My God almighty. So we finally got approval to do that, And our goal on this, if you go to sheet A200, is to mimic and create the same materials that are for all the other refuse areas at the project site. That in its overview, if we were to go back to the sheets, there are no changes in terms of what we call the floor area of the project, because this is a walled structure that doesn't have a roof. It's not for rent, it's not occupiable. The text amendment is at the rear, and again, it's specific to setbacks, and it's specific to this structure. And the drawings that I've submitted support what's before you tonight for the text amendment and the modification. If you have any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them.
Just curious, the chain link fabric on the gates?
Yes.
Is that 2-inch?
Yes, and
fabric?
it has the vinyl inserts, along, like modeling at the rest of the community. Again, this is something that, as an aside comment, I believe your commission, zoning commission, has to start looking at again, because there are refuse areas, just so you know, they're 25 years old. The way garbage trucks used to pick up from the rear are no longer. They're all from the front. Trying to find drivers that can, try to get the forks in the front and not take out the fences would be, a great thing. But it's an aesthetic kind of imagery that I know this commission and the zoning commission has always supported, because it's just as important as landscape. But you'll see even our Pomprog Office Park, it's since 1983, 3 of the refuse areas, all the walls are gone. The garbage trucks took them out. But, hopefully over time, I think our land use commissions can make recommendations to make certain they come back into compliance. But refuse has changed. I had no idea how it's changed so much from single source to, collecting bottles, cardboard. It does change, and it varies from each company.
That was the other, I guess, the dumpsters that are gonna be, is that one trash, one recycle, or?
We'll set that up with the tenant. The tenant actually does that themselves with the Regency centers. That's part of their common area maintenance.
So the owner or the developing company that owns the property understands that since you're gonna put the wall on the electrical easement, that if something happens, the wall goes down, they gotta dig it up, that's their problem?
Oh, yeah, that's correct.
Their cost?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's correct,
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
And mind you, once they apply for a building permit, Eversource is notified, call before you dig is
Yeah, yeah, of
notified,
course, yep.
and then they're there during the actual excavation. And those notes are actually on the drawings that are a part of this package.
So I was gonna say, it's this test pit required, was that done?
No, that, after we get a permit, the
Gotcha.
test pit will be developed, so.
So if any, just two
Ye-
things
yes.
for me. If you look at the way that this is planned out and you go and you take a ride behind the shopping center.
Correct.
It'll be the nicest garbage area out of all of them.
Well, they should
so.
all look good, and
Well,
that's.
none of them will have none of them have gates in the
Well,
back.
the garbage
They're
trucks
just
tore them
open.
off, and that's why I,
This is nice.
let a little cat out of the bag for homework for your commission
The
as
only-
time goes on.
The only, and I think I know the answer, but I want to ask the question anyway, is that new structure is, precedes the loading dock area, and I don't know how to describe it. Off Brown Road, the opening will now have a structure that a truck will have to be aware
Yeah,
of.
but the truck unfortunately goes down Brown Road, turns around, comes along parallel with it, then
then
backs
backs
in, then pulls out.
Yep, okay.
That's on a good day.
Right.
And we don't know who the driver is, and so, the other thing I tried to ask for, and, is I tried, cause I'm one that always supports planting, but, I wanted to put some planting along that parking edge, and I was getting negative feedback from Eversource because it's, an electrical. And furthermore, I really didn't want to share with them, well, we have 3 beautiful grown trees there, don't you dare touch them, and don't make up, stories that, well, you've got to cut them down because it's electrical easement. They haven't been a problem for 25 years, they shouldn't be a problem now.
Yeah,
So,
they would have already.
And that's, you know, again, don't get me going, but, you know, they already wanna come down the street and start cutting the trees down again at exit 14 for that work. You know, that alley of trees that I planted in
Yeah.
front of Sacred Heart Church, it's beautiful, it's all gone, it's all gone. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Anybody have anything, questions for Hugh, anyone else?
Clarification, this isn't except, when you say from 30 feet to 20 feet, this is just for this application?
That's it.
A special exception and zoning has already,
They referred it to you.
Yep.
thank you,
Now I'm going back to them.
Yep.
got it.
Do you anticipate, because Home Goods has another, or that, so there's Home Goods, there's the Athleta's going in on the one side.
I don't know if Athleta's coming in anymore.
Or, I mean,
Yeah.
but, okay, so
Yeah.
in that space, that was.
Correct.
there. Was there also, is there space on the other side?
There's
of
a,
Home
there,
Goods?
there's a little dumpster down there at the corner already,
Okay,
so,
that's what I was going to
Yep.
ask. We anticipate.
yeah, and that got developed probably about 15 years ago for cardboard, when, Staples was there.
And
So-
you don't anticipate the trucks backing in being a problem?
No,
I mean, that's-
no,
that's a
no,
lot.
not at all.
So we need to, yes, please, we need to make a motion for a positive recommendation back to zoning.
I would make that motion, positive recommendation as provided, the language provided.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All set, Hugh?
Thank you so much.
All right.
Round two.
Yes. When
All
the
right.
chairman indicates, I'll start.
Oh, sorry.
No, no, no.
Yeah, number 2, 8-3 zoning, commission referral, Southbury Green PDT, general text amendment, detailed plan modification, expansion of shipping, receiving, staging area behind Building A, the ShopRite. Hugh Sullivan present.
Again, for the record, I'm Hugh Sullivan, I'm architect with Bennett Sullivan Associates. Reside at 615 South Britain Road in South Britain. I'm before you tonight with a text amendment, and the modification of detailed plans will come after to your commission. But again, if I were to ask you to go to the 1117 drawings, on the first sheet, SP 100, at the rear of the building, there is a proposed new expansion of 35 feet by 55, 7 inches, or 1,946 square feet. This addition is for receiving and staging. And if you were to go to the next sheet, X101, you can see their existing facility that's in tan. And if you were to flip to the next sheet, you can see where the existing facility is in tan with the expansion. One of the things that's happened, okay, and the COVID issues kind of brought this to a head for ShopRite. When this grocery store was designed in 95 and 96 for Grand Union, how they delivered their product to their store is completely different from how they do it today. ShopRite has multiple vendors, has multiple trucks, okay? Multiple delivery times. Most of the times you never see these trucks. They come in late at night, early in the morning. Grand Union just used to have their own trucks. It was like a little mom and pop shop. They came out and delivered. The problem they have in the current space, and I went there at a delivery, they have these types of hydraulic that goes into the trucks.
Pallet jack.
Pallet jacks, thank you. And if I'm trying to go into this trailer, and you're behind me in another trailer, you and I are bumping into each other, and it's a dangerous situation. Also, when they come out, they have difficulty getting their pallets on the floor so that they can then get it ready for distribution through the store. So they need more room to kind of create what I call a designed riot central back there that they don't have now. So what this will do is they will move and get a new trash compactor, okay, update it. That will be located, and they will then have 4 bays for the trucks They currently have 3, and this would then help them with the store and bringing product into the store, which varies the way they've broken it down: produce, meat, dry goods, bottled goods, canned goods. All that is important for them, and it's really what they need for their back of the house for, 2021. Because what was done in 1996 just does not work for them at this point in time. And that's, otherwise, the store is a successful store. At one point, they were looking at the left side of the store to try to create more of a drive-up to pick up your groceries, and that just didn't really work too well. But if they could get the back of the house in order here, that would really help this operation. The goal also on the addition, and we would come back to you when we did the detailed plans. We'll show you the exterior, but the goal again is to match all the brick. The goal is to make it look like, yes, it's bigger, but it's always been there.
Anybody have any, Bob?
So, you've got 4 loading docks now, so to speak.
Correct.
So if the tractor trailer comes in from either direction, whether it be from Brown
Correct.
Road or from the other.
Correct.
And they're gonna be assigned a loading dock number, I'm sure.
Yes.
And they pull in and they realize, yeah, I kinda came in the wrong way.
Yes. They gotta
I
go
don't go
loop.
back there enough. Is there an adequate spot for them to turn around without having to
Yes.
go into the main parking lot?
Yes.
And-
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And,
And that would be for either direction?
either direction. The other thing I wanted to point out, because they didn't have it in 1996, if you look at the top of your sheet on drawing A101, I've installed a handicap access ramp. Before it was just the loading dock and they'd come down the stairs. So this would be ADA compliant, as well as, indirectly, if a small straight job truck came, not a tractor trailer, they could just wheel their stuff right up into the back of the building.
That's that rearmost ramp, new ramp?
Correct,
With the
correct.
double doors?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're also introducing 6-foot doors, because they only had 3-foot doors, and the 6-foot doors will be much more helpful for them.
Start hitting them.
That new ramp doesn't, I'm thinking it's, because there's a whole set of parking spaces that are back there too.
Yep.
And I
Doesn't aff-
realized, because
yeah.
I just drove back there today, and I was looking at actually satellite pictures, and you could see a lot of the, whatever trucks maybe are associated with the store, just parking
Yep.
straight across the parking spaces, kind of like,
Yep.
For lack of a better way of saying it, like
In-
illegally
in the-
parking.
Yep.
My whole point is the new ramp, in other words, is there sufficient space for people using
Yes,
those
there
parking
is.
spaces
And,
to?
and note, it's one of the problems that we have with larger projects that have over 100 cars. The zoning regulations years ago used the rule truly to try and control the size of the building, which I never agreed with, where they wanted 1 parking space per 150 square feet of building. Well, we know with traffic engineering and traffic analysis, you can go 1 to 250 without a problem. So there are parking spaces at that site, especially in the rear of the building, that have never been parked in. I mean, Pomperog Office Park, case in point. I mean, with the planning commission back then, we came in and I asked them, I said, can I have green space in lieu of parking? I'll show you that I can build it, but I just don't want it. I don't need it. And miraculously, I mean, I was shocked, they gave me 20%. And miraculously, I joke amongst you, it was, when Commissioner Antill was on the board, and I didn't think I was gonna get 1 space, but they agreed to 20. Now, the 20% we put in green, but there are still parking spaces at Pomperog Office Park that have never been parked in, okay? That whole outer edge out in front of Building 2 that's across the street from Leo's, no one parks there. No one. It's just, I wish I could make it all green, and I could really kind of, reduce the amount of, impervious area, which, we've all tried to do to make sites more green. so.
Cut down your plowing costs.
Yeah, so, but that's what we're here before you tonight, and, you know, in terms of the regulations, you know, this, the text amendment is asking, for you to, increase, the square footage, on the site by 1,946 gross square feet for an expanded receiving and shipping space. And, this additional, square footage does not affect any of the coverages for of the buildings or the ground coverage for the site. And I've listed them out. When you go to look at, you know, when I do these types of projects, everything in red is what I am proposing. And once approved, I will change the red back to black with, you know, changes that you may have recommended or zoning recommended, then that will be filed on the record.
Anyone else, any questions for Hugh? This is, okay.
No, I mean, they've sent this to their engineers, ShopRite and the compacting company, and, no, none was. No, I mean, you know, I could have that compactor in the middle of a field with a fence around it, they'd still smash it up, you know? Again, it's just the drivers, you know, it's like, I joke about it, you know, find me a good painter, they're hard to find. Find me a good truck driver, they're hard to find.
It just looks like it's a real long alley.
Now, remember, most times when they come in there, there isn't a truck near them. And they're, again, coming in at hours of the night that, you know, they usually come in at 4 in the morning.
Not the contractor people, but the truck people.
They're coming in all at night, you know, there's a whole shift there at night, you know, coordinating deliveries. All right? Yeah, no, it's, you know, it's not as, I mean, in New York and Manhattan, they'd love that space. They'd say, God, we got tons of room.
Yeah.
Fortunately for us, we're not in New York.
Yeah, I know, I hear you.
Exactly.
Nancy, do you have something?
Yes, there is always debris back there, there's storage, there's, what Greg just said, the trucks are always parked back there.
Yep.
There's gonna be, if this is additional, where are they gonna put all that junk? It's there all the time, it's a
Well,
mess.
again, what we should really discuss, and I'll say this as an ex-member of this commission, is that's a matter of zoning enforcement,
Absolutely.
okay?
And
I don't have the
Stop and Shop is the same.
ability to do that.
There's
And,
bunches- yeah,
and a
sure.
lot of it, you know, in my opinion, is, I'm just amazed how many people litter, okay? Okay, it's staggering, and I don't know if you remember, but about 15 years ago, there were 2 elderly brothers from Heritage Village who spent a week going between exit 14 and 15 and just collecting stuff. They were just,
It's amazing how much you get.
well,
But this is specific,
60% was from McDonald's and Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah,
and they weren't being thrown by Southbury residents.
yeah.
You know, the minute they come off the highway, going up the ramps, okay, and then the plastic bags, the wind gets them, and, you know, someone buys a sandwich, you know, it's a mess. And the pricker bushes are the thing that holds them.
specific don't go to ShopRite.
Yes.
There's always
Yes.
old shelving back there.
Yes.
Bags
And,
and trucks, what?
yeah, yeah, zoning enforcement, as time goes on here, should take that up as an aspect of compliance.
We're gonna make a note of that.
No, and I've spoken to Jessica and to Ty about that,
It's
yeah.
also Stop and Shop.
Yes, oh yeah, it's really, you know, you're gonna find that the retail centers that are owned by local people, they're picking their trash up every day,
Yeah.
okay? But the corporate entities, you know, they're problematic.
Yeah, I don't think with this expansion and the trucks parked and the debris back there, I don't know how we gotta.
Yeah, I understand, but your,
Zoning enforcement, I
yeah,
understand.
but your support would be greatly appreciated on this application.
So we have to make a, positive referral. Oh, Robert? Thank you.
As amended.
All right, so we'll make a positive, regulation back to,
Good.
approval back to, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Thank
Okay,
you so much.
All set, Hugh? Thank you.
Another day of garbage.
All right,
Appreciate your help.
thank you. right, number 3, 8-24, the Board of Selectmen referral, request to purchase town property. Everybody saw this in the email, the little diagram Jess sent everybody?
Yes.
Comments, thoughts on it? Anybody? That side of the table first? What's that?
There you go.
Motion to approve? Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion before we go to a vote? Everybody? Okay.
One comment is that, I was asked if the board, if we've heard anything from the First Selectman's office regarding the request that I had made on behalf of the commission to get some clarity on town property, you know, and I haven't yet. I've sent another note to the First Selectman, so I just wanted to let you know. You know, I'll keep pushing on it. So.
Thank you, Mike. So no discussion, so we have a motion on the table and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Approved. Number 4, Cedar Ridge Estate subdivision, the release of a bond. Okay, I remember reading about it, yeah. Yes. So I have to read this whole thing in?
No. This is how it was originally approved.
So a memo to the Board of Selectmen, the Southbury Planning Commission dated September 21, 20, Cedar Ridge Estates, a subdivision, map 4026, release of a bond, at their September 21st, 2020 Planning Commission meeting, we voted unanimously to recommend the Board of Selectmen to release the common driveway and soil erosion bond held to ensure completion of Cedar Ridge Estate subdivision. The zoning enforcement officer conducted a site inspection and concluded that the bonds could be released. Town file number 04-107, developers Joseph Burnlack, 20 Murphy Lane, Southbury, Connecticut. The bank is Webster Bank. Common driveway bond is $5,700, bring it down to 0. Planning, soil erosion, and sediment control bond, $57.75, bring it to 0. No other bonding remains for completion of this subdivision. Any motion on this?
Motion to approve the release?
I'll second it. Any discussion? Anybody? Anything on it? Everyone, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Discussion number 5, impact of electrical vehicles in the town infrastructure. Okay. Who would like to start that?
I did some research, do you want me to?
Sure. I have some too over here where I
So I
put
did
it.
some research. I spoke to Ben McMillan from the Connecticut DEEP. He clarified several things for me. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I've read this, and I've had a lot going on with the POCD and things like that. So he suggested that the town, if they were to install these EV charging stations, put in meters to just, so they can track and document how much they're actually being used. One of my questions was who pays for them? Initially, there was some kind of incentive where whoever was using them did not have to pay, that there was some kind of contract that, you know, they were free for people to use for a set amount of time. But now they're geared more towards charging people to use them. There is a couple of grants available. One of them is the Volkswagen Settlement Grant. I was not able to get a whole lot of information on that. I did also speak to the general manager at the Heritage Hotel. That's one of the few places in town that I know does have EV charging stations. They have a Tesla one and what he referred to as a regular one. They're for hotel guests only, so the hotel regulates when they're on. They've had them for about 4 years, and it does seem to bring people into their hotel. I actually ended up having a conversation with the building maintenance guy about these because I knew he was an electrician. I just was kind of picking his brain. And he used to work in New Milford, and he is capable of installing these. So that doesn't seem to be an issue. If the town was interested in doing this, I think probably some of the ideal locations would be like the town hall, the upper parking lot, because there's a power source right there in the library. Another interesting suggestion was that some places you can stop and charge your car and leave your car there, and they have bike rental stations right there near the charging station. But that goes kind of back to whether or not Southbury is really set up for biking.
There is another one that you didn't mention, and that's by the movie theater. The movie
Did
theater.
they actually put them in? I wasn't sure
Yep.
if they had.
Yep.
Okay.
They
Okay.
have two Teslas that you could use either side, and one for all the other cars.
Okay.
So they've got them. We've had this discussion in the, I was gonna say planning, but in strategic planning, thank you. Couldn't, all of a sudden we've just general discussion. And among the discussions were, at some point in time, if the political people go through with their discussion of having 40% of all the vehicles sold in the state of Connecticut by 2035, you're gonna need charging, people will need charging stations.
Yeah, absolutely.
And perhaps the best place for them, because if you're using electricity, you're not using fuel. So the best place for them might be, or the alternatives, as opposed to putting them on town property, might be to convince the filling stations to have a slot for cars. The big problem with charging stations is, depending on the vehicle that you have, you can sit at a charging station, if you're zero, you can sit at a charging station for up to 6 hours.
Right.
Whereas if you've got there's two ways of charging. You can charge it with a super, 220, if your car will take it, and that'll charge it in half the time. And a regular car would take 6 hours. I think a Tesla takes only 3 hours too. I think Tesla's faster. But, go ahead, I'm sorry, go. That was the gist of the discussion. Also, I don't understand about, they need something on it to find out how often it's being used or not. That should be, if the state wants to do it, that should be the state's expense.
It's a meter just to collect data, because it's such a, well, it's a relatively new thing. This is a suggestion from Ben McMillan from the DEP.
I don't know, it doesn't,
I think they just want to document the usage, really.
Well, eventually, it's gotta come down to someone's gotta pay for it, right?
Yes, and
Yes.
I think
Now
that's,
Tesla
I think
pays for
that's,
people,
Yeah,
right? You buy the cars, you
and
pay
it
for
does-
doesn't matter. So,
to document cost,
I don't
use,
know
frequency.
what that's gonna look like, Bob?
A few questions. At one point in time, throughout history, I know the town had specific people that assisted with grants. I don't know what the status of that is, so if there is a VW grant floating out there, if we do still have someone that's helping, we could possibly go to them. My second comment would be, it may be just a little too soon, but I think we had an applicant in here tonight that might be able to tell us an awful lot
Yes.
about this.
Exactly, yeah.
We might be able to pick their brain.
Yeah.
You might wanna wait for the approval first, though. And my last.
That's why I opened that right there, exactly.
Yeah. My last comment is, I know this is also part of our POCD questionnaire, and I think once
Yeah.
we get some feedback and
yeah.
data from that, I think that's gonna give us the better ability to make our voice heard and to indicate just how important this topic is.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise, though, I mean, if it comes back that it's not a hot topic, it's gonna defeat our purpose a little bit. But I think it's important to put it out there, and it was one of my questions, so.
also, the vast majority of the charging doesn't happen at a charging station. The vast majority of the charging happens at a house. If you pull into the garage, you plug it in, and go to sleep and you wake up in the morning, you unplug it and it's done. So the vast majority doesn't happen at these charging stations. So it seems to me that if you put a meter on it, it'd be irrelevant, because most of the people don't go to a charging station. Most of the people would be driving, who are driving these vehicles, will be driving into their garage and plugging it in.
I think that what we might find is as electric vehicles become more prevalent, people are using them more as their regular car and not as their commuter car to and from work, but actually as their regular car, planning trips and saying, okay, we can get 150 miles to here, we'll stop here, we'll have dinner, we'll have, we'll walk around, we'll charge the car
That
up,
was
and then
Milford's point. and
Well,
it's-
you go to Google, you could do that.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I think that may vastly change how people are charging their cars, as opposed to now, people have it as their either second commuter car, and they have a gas-powered car, still at bay, or they'll rent a gas-powered car for longer trips. But I think what we may find is that as the infrastructure is built, people will come, they'll stop for dinner, and charge for an hour and a half to get to their next
It's
destination.
exactly why Mercado has charging
That's right, and
stations
that's
there.
why
In the
we want, I
hotel,
think, to have
right.
them
Truly.
Main Street.
Yes.
I have a couple of friends that have electric vehicles and that do take long trips, and you find that the only time they're using a gas station charging point is if they're really at last resort option, I need 20 more minutes of power. Let me stop here, I'll quickly get a quick charge that'll get me to my next point where I know I can get a full charge. But the idea is, yeah, let's stop for dinner and plug the car in, and, I think that's where you're gonna see your charging stations where, people gravitate, and.
Where people can get out and actually engage in the Main Street
Yeah,
around
no.
them, instead of sitting in a filling station, get a bag of chips and wait in the car while the car charges, or.
Right.
There's also a push for instance, supermarkets, for Home Depot, for Lowe's. They're putting them on the building, so when people go in to shop, they plug in.
Yes.
So it's going.
That's great.
Yeah.
And like I said, the law is in 40% of every vehicle sold in the state of Connecticut has to be electric of some kind, whether it's straight off for battery or it's a plug-in hybrid, but it has to be, it has to be.
If I could, Chairman, just say a couple words economic development-wise about this topic, because this is an important one. We're working on the sustainability CT accreditation, and there's elements of that program that are connected to this topic. So, we're the town to, even put in one town-placed EV charging station. It is, additional credits that we get towards that program. We're in talks with the Connecticut Green Bank because we have the CPACE program, and they have other kinds of programs that they offer incentives. So there are funds out there. So whether it's the VW or others, we certainly can find monies towards that. I was the ED of New Milford actually when we put in the charging station on the green, and that thing never didn't have a car in it. There was always a car, and it was right in the center of the green, across from the library. And from a PR standpoint, and I care about this kind of thing from an ED development standpoint. One of the narratives that I hope to project, particularly as Bob said, with getting the EV manufacturer in, is Southbury as a green town, right? Green energy, but green open space. We're all open space is a big part of our identity, and being the beautiful rolling green hills that we have, and also this green technology. So it's going to make a nice sort of bookended story about our town, and help. Honestly, I think because of the focus that is on this topic, having this new company come in, and then if we piggyback that on with even just one town structure, town property charger, will it's something that's going to help put us on the map, so to speak, and give us part of our identity.
That just sort of jogged my memory, and it's just a comment, kind of fleeting thought is, I sure hope Eversource maintains a good tree trimming program, because if we have to endure a 10-day outage, where are you going to get your power for your vehicle? Or will things progress with battery banks that it won't be an issue?
I think
Town
some of those
property should have-
technologies kind of have to
Town
go
property should have
together.
a generator backup,
Right.
should be okay.
Yeah.
Generators
Instead of
that
catching
can,
up.
right,
Because
gas
these-
powered generators.
Yeah, I guess.
There are companies that are gonna make the EVs for large trucks too. I mean, this is just, I mean, there's
Right.
Lordstrom out of Ohio, there's Romeo, there's Lucid's making
Right.
beautiful cars. There's a lot of companies. And it will not just be the luxury car, it's gonna be trucks.
Yeah, well, the Ford 150 is already.
It's already out,
They already
yeah.
came out with
But
an
I mean
electric
trucks
one,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Over the
snowplows and stuff.
road
I mean trucks.
trucks, yeah.
So they're gonna, so the towns are gonna have to prepare themselves for that exact situation you're talking about. I don't know when, but
Right.
And location-wise, economic development-wise, you know, just like Mercado, just like in the hotel, that we'll start to see more of those from a commercial standpoint where obviously the landlords are paying for it. And obviously, we're talking about as town property. And I would just say that if we were looking at spots, obviously Main Street, you know, having the longevity of having to plug in perhaps for 3 hours, we want to, you know, encourage the walkability and, you know, getting to, shops, and et cetera. So, figuring out those strategic spots, you know, maybe it's town hall, maybe we have, like I said, 1 or 2 here, would be great.
And also, the Ford 150 that they're building, that's a hybrid. You can put gasoline as well as charging. So.
I thought the new 150 that they came out with in all
the Lightning is all
electric.
all electric, yeah.
Because Ford makes them.
Yeah, the one they revealed at the show about a month ago.
A month ago,
It
yeah.
was all electric that I saw, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal because it's the most popular vehicle
Yeah,
in
yeah.
America.
Yeah,
So.
it was absolutely beautiful.
They had different plugs for different
Yeah.
car manufacturers instead
Oh,
of.
yeah, I know
regular
that.
plugs.
Tesla is too.
Yeah.
There's Tesla and everybody else.
Just Google, there's a video, you can see it, it's pretty cool.
But
Yeah.
I agree with Greg, it's going to be quite a strain on our electrical grid that people are not considering at this point. It's gonna have to be catch-up, and it should be addressed before
A
now.
couple of months ago, they had, the UI and Eversource had a conference on that with the state government, on producing more power. And another thing that you're not considering is, there are a lot more people generating power now than there ever was. I know in the village, we have our activities building, and that has solar power, and it generates much more electricity than we'll ever use, and we sell it back to Eversource. So that's one, and more houses are now having, solar panels on, and in the village, there's like 1 or 2, but they don't use all the power that they make.
Maybe they'll have solar electric generating for the cars. Wouldn't that be nice? A new invention.
I imagine they will have it sooner or later. I know they're working on the battery life.
Oh, big time.
Anybody else on the EV topic for the moment? It's an ongoing topic, so, obviously keep your notes, bring up whatever you wanna talk about, at the meetings come up under other business or whatever, or if we put it on to the schedule, then obviously we will for this gentleman that came in tonight. Like Bob mentioned, we'll get a good education from them, I'm sure. All right. Moving right along here, let's see, members' reports. Anybody?
Anything from COG?
No, I haven't heard a word.
They,
John Allen doesn't start till October.
October sometime. I directed him to speak to you. He was asking me questions about being the liaison, and I don't have the answers, but I know that you've done it and you're very familiar with it.
Do you know John Allen?
No.
Oh, okay, I'll introduce you to him, yeah. He'll
Okay.
probably reach out to you, just ask you a couple questions about,
Okay.
you know, what to expect.
I don't recognize his phone number, though, I probably,
Oh, I'll give it to you. Don't
I
worry.
think I gave him your email.
Yeah.
oh, good, okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. All right, let's see here, so no member reports, okay, so let's see, minutes, July the 27th, let's see, which one is this one? It's September the 2nd. Guess we do that one first since I have it open, let's see everybody was here. Absent was Greg, so Greg cannot vote on the minutes. Any changes on September 2nd minutes?
Motion to approve as presented?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? September 2nd, minutes are approved. July the 27th. All right, let's see, members absent. Cool, I was absent, so Nance, do you wanna,
Yep. Any, okay, sure, just ask for
any changes, anybody? Nothing to amend, okay.
Motion to approve as presented. Second.
Alex seconded, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. And let's see, last but not least, August the 17th. Which one, let's see where Deb put that one. I don't see that one. Do we have that one?
September 2nd?
No, it says,
The seventeenth?
it says the 17th. I don't see it here.
I'm looking at it.
Yep.
Oh, maybe I missed it then. Okay. That's the short one. There it is. All right, everybody was here. Any changes, anybody? Any additions?
Motion to approve as presented.
I'll sec. All right, Greg, second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes are approved. Correspondence, there are none this week.
Nope.
Did
Okay.
I miss September 2nd?
Yes, I did. And then, let's see,
So fast.
any bills?
Nope.
No bills? All right, we're gonna add in, any other business that was just left off the schedule. Do we have to get a vote for that? Can we get a vote, a motion to add in, add under,
Motion
Other-
to add other business as item 10
all right,
to our.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Anybody under other business, anything at all? We're gonna give you a quick update on the survey, but anything at all? Nance?
I will, yes. I want to know what the status is of our mailing of the questionnaire.
So, due to the length of the survey, it,
No, the mailing, not the link. The mailing.
oh. The mailing, I'm confused. Do you mean?
Out the survey?
Yeah, mailing out the survey?
Yes.
So due to the length of the survey, in 2012, it was only 2 pages. Now it's expanded to 22 pages. To mail that to every household with a self-addressed stamped envelope would just be astronomically expensive. And so I mentioned to Richard, another one of my concerns with that is if we mailed just one survey to every household, most households in Southbury are multifamily, or it's rarely just one person living there. So your suggestion was to mail the number of surveys as there are people in the household, which would, again, increase the
Right.
cost.
But that stops the, multiple, entries, right? If I got one, my wife got one, we each mail them back, that's it for the household, right? And you send one, do they copy it, and does every kid in the house, you know what I mean? We don't know, so that's, my biggest concern is we have to be concerned about, not fraud per se, but skewed numbers when we get the results back. We wanna make sure that we're getting what's
I've spoken to Liz
legitimate.
Right, I understand what you're saying, and I understand why you prefer for it to be mailed, and I don't disagree with that. I think it would be helpful in a lot of situations. But I also did have a conversation with Liz Esposito from SLR, and she said that they are so accustomed to doing these surveys that they kind of are able to determine if one person's submitting multiple surveys especially on the computer, they can track that. But they're able to kind of make that determination somehow too with the paper surveys. I think there's probably things that tip it off.
So we did, go ahead, let me give a quick overview first, then I'll take your question. So we had a conversation with the first selectman, not to put Jess in the hot seat, because she's in the hot seat here right now, and I'm taking her out of it. We talked about this, and there's money in the budget to do it, but we're changing, the first selectman wants to change ideas based on the fact that we're in a different world today than we were 10 years ago. People are more social media oriented, more emails, text message, you name it, all that electronic versus mailing then. So he decided, along with us, and it's here for everyone to see, to do this, a postcard that's going out.
That's a pretty draft, it's gonna look nicer.
Jeff's gonna go over this in 1 second to explain what it is, but, obviously if you scan this code, the survey shows up, right? They can go to the online survey. We're gonna leave the surveys in the town hall, the senior center, and there's boxes for everyone to drop them back to. There's gonna
You
be,
say you're gonna leave the surveys, you mean
Paper.
printed paper
Correct.
surveys?
yep, and there'll be a box for them to put them back.
4 locations, and they're,
Oh, you can read, I can't read my, all right. So that's part of that. And then, this here, will also be done. We can also do another thing where we can, like, the first selectman does, the phone call during a storm, right? They phone all the houses, tell everybody, you know, you come to the town hall if you need something, whatever. We can do that, let them know the survey's available too online, in different locations. They can call the town hall and get a paper one mailed to people if they want it. Because there will be people who are not computer savvy who will want that. We understand that. So we're kind of left in the hot seat here because it's not just our, even though the commission makes our own decision, we have to go to the budget as well. So not only finance, but the first selectman, so we have other people we have to include in this decision as well. So the cost of this is not inexpensive by any means,
it's $3,700 for this.
to go out to every single house or every person in town. And this is well done. And I know Nancy's very much for the whole paper survey, so am I. But obviously, we're a commission, so we have to decide what makes sense. Not that I can get it approved by the first selectman or the board of finance, but let everyone's opinion here, what we're gonna do.
And do we have a cost estimate for the paper survey, a single paper survey going to every house?
A single paper survey?
Well, you were saying one
I
paper survey with
feel
a
like that-
self-addressed stamped envelope going to every house.
No,
Okay,
I don't,
that's fine.
but I also, I feel like, I don't feel like that's adequate. I feel like that would be limiting our responses to send just one survey.
I completely agree.
Okay.
I do agree with that. I just didn't know if we had
No.
numbers for comparison.
Just so you know, I did Google it quick, for that, and this is estimates only, but for the 22 pages without an envelope and without, I mean, when I say without an envelope, without a return envelope and without a postage paid envelope, you're looking at over $1 per mailer to get
There's
22 pages.
20,000
Then I
people in
got
town.
thinking, so I know we have better than 8,000 housing units in town, so you're looking at better than $8,000. Now, if you're sending multiple copies, if you're adding in the return envelope, and if you're adding in postage paid, my guess is you're gonna be somewhere just shy of $2 an envelope.
Right?
And the return may be less because people would rather just do it.
Right, and
Right.
right.
So,
I understand, I am a little confused about something, though.
yep,
I heard you say earlier that there is money in the budget.
that's what we were told.
How much money is in the budget specifically designated for that?
I don't have that exact number.
I don't have that
It's
exact.
not designated.
It is not
It's just
designated
money in our
specific.
budget.
It's money
Oh,
that's
it's
earmarked for the
Our general
POCD.
planning budget.
No,
No, there's money that was planned for from the PCOD.
PLC,
There
yes.
there was money put away. I don't know the exact dollar amount,
25,000 a year.
but we were told we'd have the money to do this, because it has to be done right. So we have to come up with a decision on, this is already kind of in the works, so we gotta approve this or say no to this, and whatever we do, and I have to go back to Jeff and see what we get done. I'm not,
I will also say that 22 pages is, to take it online, and I have done it a number of times
yeah, me
now,
too.
It's not that bad.
It's one-sided, 22 pages. It's really
Mm.
10.
So,
No.
11.
No, this is 20,
it's both sides.
Well, you
I
still
have-
gotta answer- you gotta answer.
yeah,
What I was gonna say, though, is taking it online, it goes pretty quick.
yep.
I wasn't intimidated by the length of it.
Yeah.
If I get an envelope in the mail,
See, it's,
that's that
it's big.
from the town, I'm gonna have a tendency to set it aside, because it looks intimidating to me, just the size of it.
I could tell you there is no time in my life that I've ever gotten something from the US Census that I don't cringe when I look at that paperwork, and I immediately look for a web address
So
to go
I'm
online
gonna pass this
and
around. You
get
guys
it
take a
done.
quick peek at this, but this will
I
have.
love the idea of
some
the
options on
flyer.
it.
I think you get a good response from
I
your
think this
online
card will
people.
say, call the town hall, it'll be on the website, well, hopefully I could talk to Jeff about doing that Rotary thing, I think it's helpful.
So
I do.
Tamith offered to do it, she's doing it automatically for
Oh,
all
okay.
of the people.
That would work, I think, to let people know
And
it's there.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it for everybody, but Tamith was like, right away, she offered, I didn't even have to bring
Okay.
it up. So I think
Okay.
that's, Tammy Rossi from the Senior Services.
As well as, having it online and then the drop places. And we can think of any other places we put the survey with a box, we can do that as well, but we just thought of the big places like Heritage Village. I guess, you've decided there's someone that
So-
we can work through at Heritage Village to get it done?
Yes, thanks to Ron, I have a
Okay.
contact over there. We bought the box there today.
Okay.
We have one at Parks and Rec, with surveys available. We have one at the senior center with surveys available. There's one at the library with surveys available. And obviously, they can come pick them up at the town hall. Unfortunately, we don't have a drop box here at the town hall that we can use, but I mean, the parking lots are connected. They can drop them at, Parks and Rec, or
We could always put one out if we have to.
And is
Figure it
the
out.
language on this set?
Yeah.
do you have- if you have suggestions,
Well, I have questions then, I haven't looked at it
Yeah.
yet.
And then we can do an email blast as well too, right?
Yes.
With whatever we have on file for
But just to
homes.
make sure so that I understand this, there are going to be printed versions
Yes?
at all those designated locations.
Correct.
So somebody can go pick up
Yes.
one and do that.
correct.
My other thing is, and I just got handed this, is there anywhere on here that says, hey, if you want a mailed, a
Yeah, I
printed version?
I'm like 90% sure it says it on there.
It should, if not, we told it, we wanted it on there. If it's not, we have to make sure we'll have it on it.
I
And
would
what I
say
would
if it
suggest
would-
is, the language that it says is, for those who don't have access to computers, I would say, for people who want a paper survey,
Please call.
please call.
That's fine. We have to just make sure it's,
So
can
people
we
don't
modify
think
that
like,
stuff?
oh, I have
Okay.
access to a
Yeah.
computer, but it's
Or
you.
maybe put the locations
So-
on
The
there, where
locations
they
are on
can
there.
pick
The
them up.
locations are on there, and it does say that it can be mailed. I don't know, I might wanna think about how it might be worded differently to make it jump out more.
This needs to get ordered
Why isn't that information on
tomorrow.
here? The optional website, why isn't that on here also?
On the survey, the paper survey?
Yeah, people may say, I don't wanna fill this out, I can just go to the website.
Well,
Uh,
we'll have
because
extras of those, won't we?
The
It should be
cards?
on-
Yeah.
I think it should be on here also, the website.
But if you're getting the papers, yeah, it's too late. You really can't.
one already
Paper
went.
survey.
This is already done. We can't change this.
You can't change this?
This is already out.
No, this is a final draft.
I mean, what's the
We
downside?
talked about this.
Yeah, there's, we saw that one with the,
I,
where was that?
Where's the typo? Where's the typo?
So, it just caught my eye, 34, question 34. I wasn't looking for it, it just
Yeah,
jumped out at me.
okay.
I see.
What's that?
How to do you.
How to do you.
Oh, yeah, how to do you. Oh, boy.
I'm happy to proofread the whole thing.
We can't reprint this though, right? No, it's already out.
Mike, do you have something you wanted to
Oh,
say?
this is done already, so this is a.
It's out in
done
bulk
deal.
already. It's already
Oh,
out.
So what are we talking
already
about?
out.
It's done?
Yeah.
This is basically.
And they, and that, we proofread this thing constantly. I looked at this thing a million times.
we all have. Like,
We spent a lot of
ad
time on this.
nauseam.
I'm sorry, Ron, Mike, quickly?
Just one suggestion, if the board, if the commission does end up approving this concept, I think this makes plenty of sense, and also, we're not printing a ton of paper, which is, if we wanna be a green town, we certainly don't wanna be sending out a ton of paper. But we could also take the art here, and at a very low cost, I'm sure that, Jeff and whoever can do this, blow it up into posters and put them on.
We did talk about
Posters in the library, posters in the.
Yeah, we did
so
talk about
they're
that.
big and-
Yep.
And so people could, with their phones, just do it, I think, there are plenty of, and this could become an ad in Voices if the town wants to take one. There's a
Yeah,
lot
because
of ways to
if,
really use
if
this.
that code's on, there, you can just snap with your phone, you got it.
Yeah, there are a lot
Yeah.
of ways, I think, to use these.
Yeah. Ron?
Will this,
The flyers over here, yeah.
will that flyer be advertised in the newspaper, say Voices or something like that?
I don't know if it's gonna be that specific.
But we
I'm
have a
sure
press
Gosha
release
will.
going.
Yes, the press release is going.
It will be in the newspapers though, that the survey's out. It will be in the newspaper.
That
We're-
gives you so much more information.
I know. We're going for the Republican, right, in Voices and
Yes.
what other ones?
Gosha usually handles
I can get it into Southbury Neighbors if you send it to me.
Southbury Neighbors.
Anybody else have any other spots, ideas, or thoughts on how to make sure everybody sees it, so no one comes back and says, I didn't know the survey was out?
I
And-
couldn't see if on the flyer there's information about, each resident can
some
So-
people will do that anyway, I'm sure, but that's cool.
And they might, I
it's
just
a good
wanna
point, though.
encourage.
It's a very good point. So we're gonna add that on?
Mhm.
Okay, done.
And I don't know, I mean, do we, regardless of voting age, I mean, I don't know if people think.
I was wondering that too.
like,
I don't know what the
people
answer
think, oh, you
is.
have to be over 18, or
Yeah.
any rules on that? Your 5-year-old fill it out?
What's the age
Maybe
group
they
that
have
we
a,
ask
maybe
for
they have
is-
opinion about,
We
recreational
have it-
parks.
Yeah,
We do ask
we
about
have an
age.
under 18 category.
Yeah, so I guess it's, they have a voice too, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah, what's your under 18? So just each resident a Southbury.
Is there a place to distribute that online and for Heritage Village residents also? Don't you know?
We've got the box up there, Heritage Village.
I mean, online.
What, the box?
And
Yeah.
if you've got a computer, you go
I
to
haven't
the
figured out the
town
Heritage
website.
Village TV channel yet, though.
Do you know where this is in Heritage? Where it's sitting?
But don't you
To
have a
be honest, I
specific one
had
that
the
goes
zoning
from-
enforcement officer set it up, but I mean, I have to go over there at some
Or is it
point.
a newspaper or something?
We got a bulletin, yeah.
Well, you got a TV station over there too, we wanna get it on.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Do
the
you know how
other
to-
thing is,
do
you
you have it?
should get it in
No.
the, they've got a bulletin.
Yeah.
It's too late to get this one. But you gotta have your ad
This will
in
be done in 30
before,
days.
before
Right.
the first Friday of the month.
Yeah, this will be done in 30 days, so that will, so can we get on that TV station over in Heritage Village? Can you set that up?
14?
Help us with that?
Yeah, I guess we could. You'll get an advertisement about it.
Yeah, that's fine, something maybe that, something like this that would come off the
Yeah.
flyer.
Get a hold of, Marcia Brooker, B-R-O-K-E-R, Marcia Brooker.
Marcia Brooker?
She, basically does that. Either that or Ed Edelson.
Locations.
Or be on, like,
Ed Edelson's
social
in
media,
production also.
Instagram, and.
It's going on Facebook and all those social medias, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Town website, everything.
I'll put it in, Southbury Ladies Group.
Where people pick these up.
Thank you.
How will they get them back to town hall?
They can mail them or drop them back in any of the boxes we put throughout town.
So there's drop boxes at the Park and Rec and the library where people can drop them after hours if they need to.
Is that instruction on anywhere? How do they know?
It's on, I don't know if it's on here. Yes, it is somewhere. I remember writing it. This has been a lot. I don't remember where exactly.
It was a
Okay,
crazy
so
week
I go
with
to
it.
a location, I pick up one of these.
Mhm.
Are there
know
instructions
what to
there
do
that
about it.
say?
There are
your return?
instructions there, yes.
Okay, okay.
You said 4 locations?
And when is the deadline for this?
Do you want to hand that to Nancy so she can see it?
I think it's
I'm
October.
sorry?
What's the deadline for this? There's not.
October 20th.
Oh,
The deadline should probably be on that flyer
Yeah.
too.
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, no, you're right. Deadline. Do you have this electronically?
No,
Okay. Want to scan it in and send it to us?
she's gonna send it to me electronically.
Okay, so we'll get this electronically. Do you want to see it anymore?
Didn't you send us a copy of this, or no?
Of that,
No,
I don't think I even have a copy of that.
Okay.
No, I didn't see it.
am I allowed to talk to them?
Yeah, of course.
Very-
No, you have to just sit there.
It seems like a small window of time for this.
That's the
survey.
parameters set by the consulting firm.
When are people supposed to get this?
It was distributed starting Monday.
Oh, okay.
They said that if it's out for more than a month, people get sick of it. So they're the experts. I don't know.
Plus, we're on a time schedule anyway to tally this and then make sure we get the tally and then schedule the public hearing, so we are on a set schedule.
Do you need a motion for this, for the flyer?
I don't know, do we need a motion? Because the first select one already approved it. Do we need it?
I
I
don't-
guess we might
I
as well
don't think
get
so.
on record.
You
That's a good idea.
open this as a discussion about the POCD. You
Yeah.
didn't say we were voting about the survey, did you, that I recall?
Point of order, there's nothing really to
Yeah,
vote
I don't-
on.
I don't think we need it.
It's a marketing piece. I mean, you could, if you wanted to pass a resolution supporting the first selectman's plan
Yeah.
on promotion, just as a symbolic.
Does anybody wanna make any changes to this or any additions to this, cause this is gonna go to press and go out like ASAP. Anybody have any ideas to go additional to this?
Not in addition to what was already said.
Okay, how about on this flyer that you kinda looked over? Anybody?
Just, Jessica, you wrote down at the bottom, deadline October 20th, that's already there, please return surveys by October 20th, so you don't need to do that again.
On this thing, I don't,
Right, so
where did I write it?
you wrote it here, but it's here already.
Oh,
So-
thank you.
But I think we can just put this in, it says, wants to hear from residents, and then just put down here, each resident is encouraged to fill out the
Yeah.
survey, or complete the survey, right, so it's
Okay.
gonna be
But this
there,
doesn't say October 20th.
and then, yeah, for those who prefer paper copies.
Okay.
Rich,
Thank
Yes.
you.
do you know 10 years, you happen to know 10 years ago, what was the response? Like, how many response did we get?
We
You said
got
82.
82% of the town.
Yes.
Wow. So my,
And we did it through survey, we did it through Survey Monkey,
okay,
which was a little different.
yep.
This is Survey Monkey.
Yeah, but we did,
Is-
there was another style, I forget
Oh.
what it was, but it's something like this, but it went out like this.
I was
Yeah.
just curious if the
Yeah.
consulting company is giving us like a midway point, like where we stand, kind
I
of,
was wondering that too. That's a good question. They're not.
okay.
But they did say it.
But there, you have to remember, there are several other, community involvement events. The whole of the POCD is not based on solely the results of the survey. There's a lot of other
Right.
community input and events that play into this.
Yep, just asking if they gave like a where we stand halfway through
Right,
the
I thought the
survey
exact same
timeframe.
thing.
Okay.
Nancy had a question?
Nance, anything else?
It was about the paper on the paper survey, it doesn't say anything about October 20th, but when you go to pick up the paper survey, if the signage says, please return by October 20th at these drop-off locations, then
I don't know if it has the date on there. I know there's an explanation about the POCD. That's,
no, I'm saying, right, so
yeah, no, I
signage
know
for
what you're
when you pick
saying.
it up.
Yeah,
Well, we have to,
Because it's not on there.
right.
It's already done?
What's that?
It's already done then?
This.
No, the sign for the.
so the sign for the locations, we can make sure it says it?
Yeah, we can change them though.
Yeah, we have to do that then. People need to know when to return it, that's important.
Yeah,
And on that phone dialing thing too, people need to say, fill out the survey, it's due by such and such date. And then the newspaper should say the same thing as well, the release, or the press release. Maybe in bigger letters, that grabs everyone's attention. Anybody else, anything on this?
Thank you, Jessica, for all your work on that.
Yes.
thank you.
Okay, let's see, what's next here? Yes, we're at that. Motion to adjourn, I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay.
What is the notice requirement for public hearing? Days, is it 14 days or?
I forgot. Yeah, we should, usually we should get the book. The policy.
Bringing the beer in, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, oh, for all the rules?
That's all yours.
Question?
Paper survey.
If anyone wants,
Anybody want these surveys to take with them to give to anybody? They're all here.